In a significant geopolitical development, Brazil has announced its decision to withdraw from China's Belt and Road Initiative. This decision has sent ripples through the international community, as Brazil is one of the largest economies in Latin America and a key player in global trade. This move aligns Brazil with a growing number of countries expressing reservations about the ambitious infrastructure project. Countries like India, Japan, and several European nations have also voiced concerns, citing various economic and strategic reasons. The Belt and Road Initiative, launched by Chinese President Xi Jinping in 2013, aims to connect Asia, Africa, and Europe through a network of roads, railways, ports, and other infrastructure projects. It is often described as the modern-day Silk Road, intended to enhance trade and stimulate economic growth across continents. However, it has faced increasing scrutiny over its lack of transparency, environmental impact, and potential to burden developing nations with unsustainable debt. Critics argue that the initiative often leads to a debt trap, where countries are unable to repay Chinese loans, giving China leverage over their economic and political decisions. Brazil's decision marks a setback for China's global ambitions and raises questions about the future of the Belt and Road Initiative. The withdrawal could inspire other nations to reconsider their participation, potentially leading to a domino effect that might undermine the initiative's long-term viability. It also highlights the growing unease among some countries regarding China's growing economic and political clout. Many nations are wary of becoming too dependent on China, fearing that it could compromise their sovereignty and economic independence. By choosing not to participate in the Belt and Road Initiative, Brazil signals its intention to chart an independent course in international affairs, one less reliant on China's economic influence. This move could open up new opportunities for Brazil to strengthen its ties with other global powers and diversify its economic partnerships. This decision comes at a time of heightened geopolitical tensions, with the United States and China vying for global influence. The rivalry between these two superpowers has created a complex international landscape, where countries must carefully navigate their alliances and economic strategies. The Belt and Road Initiative has been a cornerstone of China's foreign policy, aiming to reshape global trade routes and establish itself as a leading economic power. It represents China's vision of a more interconnected world, with Beijing at the center of global commerce and infrastructure development. Brazil's withdrawal, therefore, carries symbolic weight, demonstrating a shift in the global balance of power and a potential recalibration of alliances. As countries reassess their positions, the international community will be watching closely to see how this decision impacts the future of global trade and diplomacy. The Belt and Road Initiative represents a cornerstone of President Xi Jinping's foreign policy agenda. Launched in 2013, this ambitious project aims to enhance global trade and stimulate economic growth across Asia and beyond by developing trade routes reminiscent of the ancient Silk Road. It embodies China's ambition to reclaim its historical position as a global power, harking back to the days when the Silk Road was a vital artery of commerce and culture, connecting the East and West, and reshape the existing world order. By creating new trade networks and strengthening economic ties, China aims to establish itself as a central player in global affairs, challenging the dominance of Western powers. The Belt and Road Initiative's vast infrastructure projects are strategically designed to increase Chinese influence across continents, from Asia to Europe, Africa, and even Latin America. These projects include the construction of railways, ports, highways, and energy pipelines, all aimed at facilitating smoother and more efficient trade routes, securing access to crucial resources and markets. By investing in these infrastructure projects, China ensures a steady flow of raw materials and energy resources necessary for its burgeoning economy, while also opening up new markets for Chinese goods and services. Beyond its economic objectives, the Belt and Road Initiative also serves as a powerful tool for projecting China's soft power. Through cultural exchange programs, educational initiatives, and media outreach, China seeks to win hearts and minds, fostering a positive image and building goodwill among participating countries. By investing in infrastructure projects in developing countries, China aims to position itself as a benevolent partner, offering much-needed development assistance and economic opportunities. This approach helps to build strong bilateral relationships and secure political support from these nations, offering an alternative to Western-led development models. Unlike the stringent conditions often imposed by Western financial institutions like the World Bank or IMF, China's approach is seen as more flexible and accommodating, making it an attractive option for many developing countries. This strategic approach has allowed China to forge stronger diplomatic ties, creating a network of allies and partners that can support its geopolitical ambitions and expand its influence in regions traditionally aligned with the West. By engaging with countries that have historically been under Western influence, China is gradually shifting the balance of power in its favor. The Belt and Road Initiative's success is intrinsically linked to President Xi's political legacy. It is a key component of his vision for China's future, reflecting his desire to see China take on a more assertive and influential role on the global stage. It's a testament to his vision of a more assertive China on the global stage, one that is not afraid to assert its interests and challenge the status quo, one that confidently asserts its interests and influences international affairs. This vision includes not only economic and diplomatic efforts, but also a stronger military presence and strategic alliances. Any setbacks or criticisms directed at the Belt and Road Initiative are often perceived as challenges to Xi's authority and leadership. Negative perceptions and opposition from other countries can undermine the initiative's goals and Xi's broader ambitions. Therefore, the growing global backlash against the Belt and Road Initiative presents a significant challenge for President Xi Jinping. Criticisms range from concerns about debt sustainability and environmental impact to accusations of neo-colonialism and lack of transparency. It undermines China's efforts to portray itself as a benevolent global actor, casting doubt on the true intentions behind its investments and partnerships, and raises concerns about the sustainability and transparency of its ambitious projects. Reports of stalled or abandoned projects, along with financial risks, have fueled skepticism and criticism. As more countries like Brazil express reservations or withdraw from the Belt and Road Initiative, the initiative's future becomes increasingly uncertain. These developments highlight the challenges China faces in maintaining the momentum and support for its grand vision. It could potentially jeopardize Xi's grand vision of a Chinese-led world order. The success or failure of the Belt and Road Initiative will have far-reaching implications, not only for China's global standing, but also for Xi Jinping's legacy as a leader. Despite its initial appeal, the Belt and Road Initiative has increasingly faced criticism and resistance from various corners of the world. Initially hailed as a transformative global development strategy, the BRI aimed to enhance trade and stimulate economic growth across Asia and beyond. However, as the initiative has progressed, its darker aspects have come to light, leading to a growing wave of opposition. Concerns have mounted over the project's lack of transparency, its potential environmental impact, and the long-term sustainability of the projects it funds. Environmental activists have been particularly vocal, highlighting the extensive deforestation and habitat destruction caused by large-scale infrastructure projects. Additionally, there are widespread allegations of debt trap diplomacy employed by China, where countries are lured into taking on unsustainable debt, only to find themselves at the mercy of Chinese economic and political influence. This growing backlash underscores the complex challenges facing the Belt and Road Initiative and its long-term viability. International conferences and expert panels have increasingly focused on these issues, debating the future of the BRI and its implications for global geopolitics. One of the most significant criticisms leveled against the Belt and Road Initiative is its lack of transparency. politicians and watchdog organizations have called for greater openness in the planning and execution of BRI projects. Many agreements related to Belt and Road Initiative projects are shrouded in secrecy, raising concerns about potential corruption and unfair terms of engagement. The opaque nature of these deals often leaves local governments and communities in the dark about the true costs and benefits of the projects. The lack of competitive bidding processes and the frequent awarding of contracts to Chinese companies further fuel these concerns. Critics argue that this practice not only undermines local businesses, but also leads to substandard work and inflated costs. Furthermore, the environmental impact of Belt and Road Initiative projects has drawn criticism from environmental groups and local communities. Large-scale infrastructure projects, such as dams, roads, and railways, often come at the cost of deforestation, habitat destruction, and displacement of local populations. Large-scale infrastructure projects, such as dams, roads, and railways, often come at the cost of deforestation, habitat destruction, and displacement of local populations. These environmental and social costs have sparked widespread protests and resistance from affected communities. These concerns have led to protests and legal challenges against Belt and Road Initiative projects in several countries. In some cases, local communities have taken their grievances to court, seeking to halt or modify projects that threaten their way of life. Perhaps the most concerning aspect of the Belt and Road Initiative for many countries is the potential risk of falling into a debt trap. Financial analysts have warned that the high levels of debt associated with BRI projects could lead to economic instability and increased dependence on China. This refers to a situation where countries are burdened with unsustainable levels of debt to China, making them vulnerable to economic and political pressure. The fear is that China could leverage this debt to extract political concessions or gain control over strategic assets. The example of Sri Lanka, which was forced to lease its strategically important Hambantota port to China for 99 years after struggling to repay its debts, has served as a cautionary tale for many nations. This incident has highlighted the potential risks of engaging with the BRI and has led to increased scrutiny of similar projects around the world. In response to these concerns, some countries are exploring alternatives to the Belt and Road Initiative. International leaders are discussing new infrastructure projects and partnerships that prioritize transparency, environmental sustainability, and fair economic practices. These efforts aim to provide viable options for countries seeking development without the risks associated with the BRI. As the global backlash against the Belt and Road Initiative continues to grow, it remains to be seen how China will address these criticisms, and whether the BRI can adapt to meet the demands of a more skeptical international community. The future of the initiative will likely depend on its ability to evolve and address the legitimate concerns of the countries it aims to engage.